You may have unwittingly been drawn into a relationship full of love yet toxic with a narcissist without even realizing it. When in love, we often don't see the warning signs right away. At first, you might think the challenges between the two of you are just normal tests in a relationship, or you might believe your partner's going through personal struggles that you are willing to help them overcome. Sometimes love might convince you that they are merely playing the victim or unintentionally hurting you without any malice. Yet deep down, you keep investing emotionally, hoping that love will be strong enough to change everything. However, over time, you gradually realize that you have poured too much love, time, energy, and even your own well-being into this relationship. Your love keeps overflowing, but in return, all you feel is exhaustion and emptiness. You give your all to save the relationship, believing that genuine love can heal all wounds. But the narcissist doesn't just remain indifferent to your loving efforts, they quietly sabotage, making your life increasingly difficult. They are only focused on their own personal goals, leaving you stranded in a cycle of abuse. You keep giving, but receive nothing in return. While you love unconditionally, the narcissist sees love as a tool to extract benefits. No matter how hard you try, they never acknowledge their mistakes or take responsibility for their actions. They are incapable of self-reflection or growth in love. Instead of appreciating what you offer, they choose to exploit you, draining all your energy and emotions, then coldly abandoning you once you no longer serve a purpose. They will continue seeking a new target, and the next person is often just another vulnerable individual like you, easily manipulated. Remember, the narcissist may have left a previous relationship to seek satisfaction and love with you. Once they have drained everything you have, they will not hesitate to move on to someone else, perhaps an innocent, trusting person, or even another toxic narcissist. But the most important thing is, even if they never understand the value of love, you do not have to stay trapped in that vicious cycle. Wake up and realize that true love is not about control, possession, or coercion. Love is about respect, trust, and freedom. Be brave and step out of that toxic whirlpool, reclaim yourself, and build a healthy relationship where both partners are respected and genuinely loved. Today we will uncover the mystery together, exploring the signs of a narcissist in love, and more importantly, equipping you with the compass to escape this toxic maze, reclaiming your freedom and happiness. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I invite you to do so now, as I release new videos every day, providing free information to help you go from chaos to freedom and gain the strength you desire. Narcissists are very skilled at acting. They cleverly set traps, hiding behind a facade of care and affection, making you believe that they are sincere and devoted to you. However, in reality, these are just sophisticated tactics to manipulate and control your emotions, turning you into their puppet. They can skillfully make you feel guilty, blaming yourself for their negative emotions. They plant the idea that you are responsible for their happiness, that you need to try harder to be worthy of their love. And as you get caught up in this whirlwind of emotions, trying to please them, you unknowingly fall into the trap they've set. The more you try, the deeper you sink into the toxic cycle, becoming a source of energy for their enormous ego, so they feel satisfied when they see you dependent, weak, and constantly seeking their approval. The manipulation and control become their mental food, feeding their superior sense of self. So how do you escape this love maze full of traps? First, you need to clearly recognize the nature of these manipulators and not allow yourself to be deceived by sweet words or fake actions. When they try to bait you, making you feel guilty or responsible for their emotions, stay calm and refuse to engage in their emotional games. Narcissists, no matter how strong or powerful they appear on the outside, are deeply driven by a profound inner fear, the fear of being abandoned and losing control. Their large yet fragile ego is nourished by the admiration, worship, and dependence of others. So when you decide to leave, cut off all contact and focus on healing from the damage they've caused, you unintentionally trigger their greatest fear. By breaking free from their control, it's like you've taken away the energy supply for their fragile ego. They lose the prey they manipulate, the audience they perform for, and the mirror that reflects the perfect image they always strive to build. This sends them into a true crisis, a state of anxiety, fear, and extreme distress. They panic when they realize they no longer have a hold over you, no longer able to control your emotions or thoughts. Their fake confidence collapses, replaced by insecurity, torment, and the feeling of being abandoned like a child. They may respond by trying to win you back, begging or even threatening revenge, but all of this is just a cover for their inner fear and weakness. Don't let yourself get drawn into unnecessary arguments or tearful accusations. Remember, they are testing your patience, and you can win by standing firm and not letting emotions cloud your judgment. They might become angry, even aggressive, but trust that your calmness and determination will make them realize their tactics have failed. The only way to truly cause pain to a narcissist, and the most effective way, is no contact. It sounds simple, but its effect is incredibly powerful. Narcissists can never get enough attention, admiration, and praise. They live off it. And when you cut off all contact with them, you take away everything that gives them their sense of worth. When you decide to leave a narcissist, you must make a promise to yourself that this decision is final, with no turning back. This is not just a simple promise, but a principle that you need to adhere to strictly. Do not let their sweet words or tempting promises shake your resolve. These words, though they may seem sincere, are just tools to lure you back into a toxic relationship from which you will find no escape. Narcissists do not change, and if you go back, the pain you experienced before will only deepen. Once they realize you can be easily convinced, they will not just control you as before, but may even become more ruthless and harsh. They see that, like their previous victims, you too can be easily manipulated. Believe that in the world of a narcissist, the thing they love most is not you, nor anyone else. They truly worship and protect is their distorted sense of self. Every action, word, and thought of theirs revolves around maintaining and reinforcing that ego. They do not genuinely care about you as a person with your own emotions and needs, but rather view you as part of a complex psychological game they have created. When they want you to come back, it is not because they love you or recognize your worth, but because you are a source of supply for their narcissism, a person they can control and manipulate to satisfy their sense of power. Each time you give in or soften, they see it as proof of their dominance. And when you break free from their influence, it angers and threatens them. Narcissists cannot bear losing control. When you leave their life, you take away an essential part of the mechanism that sustains their self-satisfaction. This is something they cannot accept. Thus, they will use every means to pull you back, whether through subtle manipulation or dramatic tactics. Initially, they may appeal to your pity, crying and begging for forgiveness. They might create emotional stories to make you feel guilty, suggesting that your departure has caused the spiral downward. They may claim that they need you to change to become a better person. All of this is a trap. Narcissists do not change, and their expressions of regret are merely surface level. When begging no longer works, they may turn to social pressure. They will create situations to involve others, casting themselves as the pitiful victim in the eyes of everyone. You may face pressure from family, friends, or even colleagues, all under the guise of a tragic story that they have fabricated. They will use these tales of suffering, weaving false narratives with the sole purpose of pulling you back into their web of control. This is a familiar tactic of narcissists, making you feel guilty, softening your heart, and leading you to return to them. But you must recognize that all of this is just a ploy to continue exerting power over your life. If their soft approaches fail, they may resort to more extreme measures, even threatening or using psychological violence to make you feel fearful and anxious. They may create dramatic scenarios, doing everything they can to push you into a state of panic, hoping that you will return to relieve the tension. But understand that all these actions are just ways for them to protect their distorted ego, not because they love you or sincerely care about you. You are not special in their eyes. You are merely a tool, a source of energy to feed their selfish ego that is never satisfied. Therefore, once you have decided to leave, make sure that decision is final and unchangeable. Staying firm in your choice is the only way to free yourself from this toxic cycle. The promises and emotional tactics they create are merely sophisticated traps to lure you back. Think about the pain you endured when being controlled, the loss of your freedom and peace. If you return, everything will only get worse. They will never change. And if they understand your weakness, they will exploit it to hurt you again. When you leave, it delivers a crushing blow to their narcissistic ego. Losing control means losing a vital source of supply for their self-satisfaction. This is the only way to truly escape their influence, not through words or confrontation, but through your own firm actions. Deciding not to return and continuing to live your own life is the strongest way to protect yourself from further harm. Believe in yourself and in your decision to leave. It is the only path to free yourself from the shackles of a toxic relationship. You deserve a life of peace and happiness, and only you can protect that. If you still haven't been able to decisively part ways with the narcissist, there is a method I want to introduce to you: the gray rocking technique. This is a particularly effective communication strategy when you cannot immediately cut off the relationship, but also don't want to continue being drawn into their emotional manipulation. The technique requires you to respond briefly, without emotion, and in an extremely boring manner, like an inanimate gray rock. You respond to them with simple phrases such as yes, no, I don't know. Show no emotions, no excitement, no frustration. This cold, dull response decreases the narcissist's interest in interacting with you. Imagine you are delivering news without any expression. When the narcissist tries to drag you into an argument or wants to create conflict to attract attention, instead of responding emotionally or engaging in dialogue, you simply provide neutral, boring reactions without adding any stimulation. They will soon realize that they cannot extract emotional supply from you and will gradually lose interest in manipulating you. This not only helps protect your emotions, but also creates a safe distance when you cannot completely sever the relationship. Another key element of the gray rocking technique is the principle of never jade. Jade stands for justify, argue, defend, and explain. Narcissists often try to pull you into endless arguments, constantly demanding that you justify your feelings or decisions. But the truth is, they don't care about your reasoning. Their main goal is to make you argue, defend, and explain, creating a tense environment where they can continue to manipulate and control. When you never jade, meaning you refuse to justify, argue, or defend, or explain, you deny them the opportunity to draw into a pointless battle. For instance, when they ask provocative questions, instead of feeling the need to defend yourself or prove something, you simply respond using the gray rocking technique. They don't explain why you did something, don't argue to change their mind, because they will never change their viewpoint or accept your explanation. By refusing to engage in debates and maintaining a cold attitude, you avoid becoming a victim of their manipulative tactics. Narcissists constantly seek emotional feedback from others to fuel their egos. Therefore, when you refuse to provide them with the emotions they crave, gradually, they will lose interest in interacting with you. The gray rocking technique is an effective way to minimize tension in communication while maintaining control over the situation. More importantly, it helps you preserve your inner peace, preventing yourself from being dragged into unnecessary conflicts. When applying this technique, you need patience and determination. Don't let the narcissist's manipulative attempts make you back down. Always remind yourself that avoiding emotional reactions and not engaging in meaningless arguments is the best way to protect yourself and create a safe distance. When you no longer serve as a source of emotional supply They will soon move on to another target, and you will gradually regain your freedom and peace in life. Eventually, you will reach a point where you can no longer meet their emotional demands, but they will still continue to pressure you, demanding more. This is a toxic cycle, and the worst part is that it will never change, at least not as long as they can still draw emotional supply from you. Narcissists have a very subtle and cunning way of making you feel like all the problems stem from you, and that only you can resolve their issues. They constantly seek attention, support, and control over your emotions, leaving you feeling exhausted and trapped. Every time you respond, they continue to demand more, never satisfied. When you finally break free from a relationship with a narcissist, it feels like you've just escaped from a never-ending storm. Its effects linger long after the relationship has ended, longer than you might have expected. You'll feel like you've lost yourself in the process. They've manipulated you to the point where you've placed them at the highest position in your life, to the extent that you no longer know who you are. Every decision and every emotion of yours revolved around them, and that caused you to gradually lose control over your own life. That's why, when you finally break free, it feels as though you need to learn how to live all over again and rediscover who you truly are. Even if cutting off contact might be complicated by shared assets, children, or a business, you can still manage it. You don't have to give them all your emotional energy. You can keep everything professional, only providing the necessary information and not giving them the opportunity to manipulate your emotions anymore. This requires patience and determination, but if you stay firm, you will be able to stop them from coming back and continuing to hurt you. Otherwise, you are allowing them back into your life to keep causing you pain. Remember, you deserve a peaceful and happy life, free from control and dependency on anyone else. Freeing yourself from a toxic relationship is the first step to regaining control over your life. And trust me, there are many beautiful things ahead of you. Once you are no longer bound by bounds of manipulation and control, you will be free to be yourself, pursue your passions, and build healthy, mutually respectful relationships. Be strong and keep moving forward because you deserve to be happy. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support me. See you in the next videos.